Hello, ma'am. Welcome to the New Indian Express.
Good evening.
Ma'am, today the Supreme Court actually turned down a petition which was asking the bench to make mandatory menstrual leave. Now, one of the justification that was given by the bench was that this would create a bias within employers to not hire women. Do you agree?
This is not as simple as a yes and a no, because there are many layers which are involved over here. So, as an employer wants an efficient and productive employee. And as an ideal employer should also give, create an environment where the employee can be productive. So it's a coin which has both the sides, and in a way, this aspect is not coming up for the first time in Supreme Court. It has come up at least two times that I recollect before. Recently, Justice Padiwala's bench had also made an exhaustive judgment was delivered on this point of menstrual health. But that was more from the perspective of the health right to women to menstrual health. So various directions have been issued as to how environment should be created so that dealing with menstrual cycles can be more easy. Given that aspect, if there is an environment where the employer is sensitive, and I don't think that this needs to be hammered into a law. It is a sensitization issue which the employer must be sensitized to, that in case there is a menstrual emergency, in those cases the women should not be held accountable for not delivering their work duties that day. So, as a law, I feel that it doesn't need to be really written down, but as a policy, certainly the employers must have menstrual leave policies, which can be a part of the larger leave policies. And no disciplinary action should be taken against women who are required to go on menstrual leave.
Ma'am, but as they said, this bias, do you think that this bias will come, especially in a country like India, where, as you said, sensitization is the most important thing. But I believe that we have still not reached that pinnacle of where policy is not enforced on us, but rather we ourselves take decisions like that. But do you think that's what that bias, as the Supreme Court points out, do you think that will be there?
Yes, this bias is very real. In fact, why work environments, the whole Sabrimala controversy was around this. Menstrual cycles have been used as tools to exclude women from spaces which they rightfully should be occupying. So we are not living. I mean, if one were to see the realistic picture, an egalitarian world. We are living in a world full of biases and discrimination. And definitely, this is another weapon that the employer and the male dominated society can use to exclude women from workspaces. It's a very powerful weapon, actually.
Okay, ma'am. Again, I go into a few wordings in the judgment. The bench again said that this would create a psychological fear within women that they are lesser than men, and that menstruation is a bad thing. That is a bad thing. This it would create a fear in everyone. But don't you think that uh, it's only through laws, if it was made a law, it's only through such laws that such sensitization happens at a much more wider scale. It can maybe such a law could sensitize it on a wider scale than normal awareness campaigns.
Definitely. I am a great supporter of reservations. I'm a great supporter of inclusive laws which make various sections inclusive. So, a law is something which will, it has an immediate effect. It doesn't rely on social emancipation and egalitarianism. Law has an effect of acting from the top. So when the edict comes from the top, absolutely it has a very, very wide and wide ripple effect, and immediately bears results. So certainly there have been a lot of things which have been done on the labor law issues. So this definitely is something that the government and the legislature should definitely look into.
Ma'am, okay. I'll take off from where you ended. Now you said that the government should look into this. Now, as I was reading into this subject, I saw that in the arguments itself, it was pointed out that in 2013, Kerala had taken a decision to make menstrual leave applicable for all the women in state-run universities. And Karnataka also came out recently with a law allowing menstrual leave to women employees in private and public sector undertakings. So again, ma'am, when though there has been development, it's not a widespread development. So wouldn't if the court stepped into the matter, normally that is what I believe should happen. When the parliament fails, the court should step into the matter. So don't you think that should have happened?
See, I don't think that every malady has to be addressed by courts, because this, in separation, in the doctrine of separation of powers, this is squarely, the ball is in the court of the legislature. And the argument, though, that if the legislature is not acting, the courts must act, is very attractive, so to speak. But on ground, when there is a constitutional scheme, if the legislature is not performing its duty, then there are different ways of achieving it. Definitely, the court will step in. Our courts have been much more proactive than any court world over. In fact, PILs is a creation of the Indian Supreme Court, given the conditions of the society and the economy of India. I feel that courts have gone far ahead of what the Constitution empowers them to do. So yes, courts can step in, may step in. But having said that, I don't think that I will hold any animus towards the court for not stepping in on every and each issue. You know, every issue doesn't have to be addressed by the Supreme Court of India. That as far as menstrual leave is concerned, this is something which can be done both by private and state employers. Like we have sexual discrimination and harassment committees. I feel that through public platforms, there should be an awareness that should be created. And through public platforms, there should be pressure that should be created that all employers do include these as a part of their leave policies. That I think will be extremely effective.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. Hopefully, we reach that stage in our society, ma'am, where everyone gets sensitized and enforces such policies in their workplace. Thank you, ma'am.